We start with a stakeholder map and the reason why we need that. As a software developer and when you are dealing with the technical problems, it's quite convenient to be there in the technical level and just solve the problems, but in one big issue can be that you have no clue of what kind of users you have actually there, because you are spending a lot of time with the technical level, and that's why I want everyone to know that we have to understand much better the customer as we are currently doing. In many software companies there is a certain rules that there is no people who are really involved with the development with the customer and also the development team, but development team is a little bit out of sight to really understand what is the pain of customer and where is the real needs and targets, what they prefer for the project. That's why we are nowadays focusing a lot of time for agile thinking, that we have a good feedback channel from the customer and also the development team, between the customer and development team. Is it simple? Not in such way, but we can use some methods and make sure that the whole development team and project team is understanding better what kind of customer they have. I took very simple example here, and this is just backgrounding things you can do. Google and YouTube searching, I think there is plenty of good explanations anyway, but this is just a story in one context in this OPF environment. So I just describe a little bit reasons for the stakeholder map, and then we go on with this requirement specification process little by little. Let's go for this step first. So let's think about that we have some kind of a service somewhere which is visible in this mockup screen. So this is just showing that we have an idea of some kind of service. We don't know yet what it's doing, but we have some knowledge about what kind of customers we could have using that software service, and we can drag some of these persons on the board. So we have one customer group, young one who is interested in sports, and we don't put too much focus on what kind of service there is, but think about that we have a certain user group for the service, young people who are interested about sports and they have some kind of benefit over this service. There can be also other kind of users who are dealing, for example, with the pets. They are using time to pet their animals and keep them in a good fit, running around and doing some kind of things with them, and they are somehow interested about the same service. There can be old users. They are aged people who are also using this service, because we don't say what is the service anyway. You have to just think about what is this kind of service, who is really using. Old people, young people, people who have dogs or animal pets, whatever, who are using actually this. There is someone who is very interested about invest money to develop this kind of service. So there is interest on this service, and still we are out of line what is the service itself, but anyway we have interest groups. There can be people who want to invest or somehow get money out of this service and make some profit by investing money on this service development and get some results as your cash out of this service. there is people who are interested to sell this kind of service to outside, so we can get more users and people involved use this service, whatever. There is need for the support team who is supporting this service, so they are spending time to learn about how it's working, and they can deliver some support to the people who are really using that. And we have one group of people, they are, for example, admins. We are calling them as administrators, whatever. They are using the tool but keeping it also alive as a service to others. So it's an interest group for the team. But nowadays, more and more, there has been problem with the security issues. And there is plenty of people or institutes, whatever instances, which are interested about gathering this data from the service and deliver that in some other persons who are using that, for example, user IDs and some credit card information, whatever, misuse that information. It's actually, there is money on the board. Someone is trying to catch that data out of the service and then sell it forward. So there is plenty of interest groups around one unknown service. There is also law and order. There is tax collectors, whatever kind of instances, who are really keeping eye on these services because they are collecting tax, or somehow they want some kind of reporting and knowledge how the service is done, how there is how they have done the user right things, are they correct, are they or in order from the law point of view. So there is plenty of these kind of instances around, and this makes it very important for the developer or software service designers to understand who are actually involved with this service at first run. What we are needing next is that we have to know the motivation why these different stakeholders are involved with this service. So we have to make this visible, and this stakeholder map, what you are aiming for, you are just making sure that you have found all needed persons and stakeholders or instances, whatever is connected with service. You have to find those and define them as one picture in this case, so we can see that who are there and what is the motivation. So we are interested about that, why this person here is interested about why they are using this software, whatever. I put also the question mark there, so you don't know what is the service, but anyway, the idea that there is plenty of people why they are using. So motivation for these persons who are having this question mark, they are actually end user for the software. I a little bit move my view. So the idea for those persons is quite simple. They are just using the service and getting some benefit on over that. Why there is people who are trying to sell the solution? Of course, they try to get money and profit just retailing that service to other customers and try to catch new users also involved with this as a service users, and they get some kind of profit when they get people on board. So the motivation in this case, it could be just they want to enhance the user group for the service so they can benefit on that growth. The company is hiring salespeople who target is to sell the product to wider customer base or make it doing some growth, gain on growth and get more money inside. That's the very important. They are doing the work, so this product here, whatever is going to grow, and everyone are getting the salaries when they are developing the tool or software. Investors, what is the reason why they are there? They just put money on table and hope that it will aid the development and the service to gain profits and they get their money out with a 20 times bigger amount of money. So they try to push inside one and get outside 20 in a very simple way. But anyway, the idea is that they are investing, so motivation is get the money back with a good interest. Same for the people who are investing their small amounts on, for example, in a stock market. They try to get some money out of this service if it's in a stock market, if it's in a visible there and you can invest that company anyway. But in this moment we are just thinking of different kind of motivations, nothing more. What is the motivation for criminals? Of course, they try to suck the information out from the service and sell that away and get that money. So motivation is also, it can be just they are just curious without any need of doing some harm, but it's quite simple to turn to dark side. I think that when you notice that, okay, I could catch the data out, what is the benefit on that? Okay, I can sell that information. Yes, it's somehow very interesting, and it can change. It can be just a pure hacker who is just interested to solve the problem or get inside the system which is not allowed. But it can turn to the darker side, and then you are trying to catch yourself inside and then take the data and use it in a different purposes. People who are involved to running the service, for example, developers, administrators who are serving these different stakeholders, they are just having the service and keeping that up because they are getting salaries. They try to work for service and keep up it running, so it's doing the work and serving the people who are using it or paying for that. So that's why we need this kind of analysis first. We have to search our important customer. We have to search for the risks which are coming from the certain stakeholder groups, or there can be also the risk on different kind of user that old timers are not aware of certain kind of problems, password hijacking or whatever. So they are somehow risks. How to make sure that these persons are able to using the software in a way that they are in safe. So we have to go through different stakeholder groups and think about how they are involved. What is the reason why they are there? If we are thinking that we are not spending time with this, some of these, we can think about when we are very narrow thinkers, we can take away these. And let's think about, we have just one customer, it's here. There is no pet caretakers. There is just one customer here. We don't know any others. Of course we have a salespeople. Of course we have development team and administrator, whoever, investors are interesting. We have just one customer. And that's the big issue for the development team, because this one customer here is too narrow view on this user base. We have to make sure that we understand what kind of users there is. If I take this croc here and I just change the person and I said that actually this is your common user, but now he or she is misbehaving, is trying to get inside. So we have spent a lot of time to think about what is the good customer, and that's also very common way of thinking, that we are focusing on this person, but we, instead of that, we should also focus on how to misuse this same account, or do it somehow that they are acting like normal users, but they are actually doing that because they want to get inside or change something in the service or make it a little bit working not so good. They want to affect on that. So that's why I hope that you understand the idea of this stakeholder map. It gives us a first view over the whole product. Who are actually using the product? Who are involved to the product? And in this case, product can be service, software, game system, phone, whatever kind of ecosystem. So we have to go through this kind of stakeholder mapping first, get inside, to understand better the domain of the users and the risks on the field. In this course you will be drawing simple stakeholder map, and you are drawing it in a technically it's possible to do in a plant UML. Of course it can be drawn different way, but you can select what you want, but anyway you have to make this stakeholder map and collect that information, that what is the motivation between different users or stakeholder groups, whatever. That's why we are drawing the picture. We want to understand big picture first, and then we focus on some selected profiles. Thank you.